Trent asks, "Good evening, Gythias. Thank you for everything that y'all do. A question for each of you. What is your favorite part of being a Gythia?" There's a lot of my favorite parts of being a Gythia. There's a lot of hard work, but there's also a lot of joy and a lot of beauty in being a Gythia. Um, I think one of my favorite parts of being a Gythia is doing a Wayfarer's Bloat. That bloat brings me a lot of joy. When I do Wayfarer's Bloat, I tend to do my Wayfarer's Bloat to Frigga, and I focus on not only sending my folk off for a safe journey, but to a happy and healthy home when they get there. And I think that's really important. So I always try to put that as part of the bloat. One thing I always have people do as well is to look around the circle and remember the frit that they shared at that event or at that moot or whatever it is that we're leaving from. And to look across the circle and to look to their left and to the right and look at the faces of their folk and remember that in good times and in bad times, these people will be here for you. You can lean on them. They're your church, they're your family, they're your folk, and no matter what happens in life, you'll be able to rely on the people standing there with you. So I think that's my favorite part of being a Gythia. Anna, what do you think?
There's a lot that I love about being a Gythia. Like you said, there's a lot of it that's very hard. My favorite part is watching people actually come home and knowing that they're home. I know a lot of people have come to this faith from a place of isolation where you may not have felt like you had anything that was yours. You didn't have a place spiritually that was yours. Like you were kind of renting somebody else's faith or somebody else's path. To watch somebody come in and look around, maybe at an event and hang out and start talking to the other people there and realize I'm home. This is mine. I can't get kicked out of my home. That is so amazing and I love it.
Sheila.
Well, she kind of said it all. I would have to say the same thing. To a great extent, being there at the door to welcome people home. I've loved our slogans that we've always had from going back into the 90s. The way of the ancestors calling us home. It's about roots. It's about connections. It's about coming home. I've always wanted it to be that for our people. And I do everything I can to encourage them to come and then make them feel like, oh my gosh, how did I ever live without this? And a lot of people feel that way. They truly have that bonding, that sense of purpose, the sense of connection that they never had anywhere else. Especially in this time, I think that we really offer something very, very unique through our church. And I want to make the most of it. And it's like I'm desperately reaching out to people, just saying, whoa, please come by. You're going to be quite amazed by what you find. On the other hand, the people who come are the people I always say who should be there. Sometimes the people we expect to come don't come. Another thing that I think is very important about being a Gythia is that balance of male, female, and our gods and our goddesses. And I'd love to explore the attributes of our goddesses to some extent for our women so that they feel that they definitely have deities to connect with. And that is sometimes lost because we have always dwelt very much on our male entities, our male gods and the gods rather than goddesses sometimes. So that's very important. And winter nights, my goodness, it is, having experienced some of Katie's rituals and enjoying my own so much. And I feel that is a time for us truly to connect with ancestors. And I think we do. And I love that ability for us. I always have told people around me, you are never alone. My husband Steve says that you're never alone. You always have your ancestors with you, and of course our gods as well. But everybody who's not even found Asatru, you have your ancestors. You're never alone. So those are some of the things that I kind of promote, those ideas. And again, it's about well-being, trying to make people feel healthy and happy and cared for.
Mrs. Katie, your favorite part about being a Gythia?
It's hard to sum it up in a short and concise statement because there are many things. And I think this applies to everybody in our Godar, everybody who is a Godar. Performing baby namings and weddings are amazing. Being able to perform a ritual for our folk and help them connect to their gods, that's amazing. But I think one of my most favorite parts about being a Gythia is helping our female membership connect to the female divine, to our female gods, to our Disir, even to each other, because Asatru has been not the most friendly place for women in the past. I mean, it is, like Sheila said earlier, you look at it as or many people look at it as being the Viking religion, because that's how for many, many years it was portrayed. And when I first found Theism, which I mentioned earlier, it was very male oriented and very much a drinking club for dudes, and the chicks just kind of happened to be there sometimes. So to see so many women finding Asatru and connecting to our gods and goddesses and connecting to each other on a deeper, much more potent level it's very rewarding to me to be able to help facilitate that in any way. Because it's hard to be a woman. It's hard to be a woman with children. It's hard to be a woman who doesn't have children. I'm not saying it's not hard to be a man, but it's each thing has its own negative side, or its own problems, or its own complications, and being able to help our women bond and find the community that helps them through their troubles and through their loneliness and through all of the things that go on in their lives at the different stages of their lives that's probably one of my favorite parts.
I think another one of my favorite parts is working so closely with the other women in leadership and the bonds that you build. I know the four of us have built a very long-lasting, dedicated, and strong friendship, just from working together, spending so much time together, talking to each other on the phone, calling each other for advice, So this is where I've met my best friends. So I really do appreciate all of our leadership, especially our female leadership. We always say that there's so many more women in the AFA today. And the same goes for our women leadership as well. We have a lot of beautiful women, strong women in folk builder positions, also as Gythias. And it's a real honor to work with those women.